Atlantis, the fabled island mentioned in the works of the ancient Greek philosopher Plato, has captivated human imagination for centuries. Plato's dialogues, Timaeus and Critias, describe a powerful and advanced civilization that existed approximately 9,000 years before his time. Atlantis was said to be a utopian society characterized by remarkable achievements in science, architecture, and governance. Its people were believed to have possessed sacred knowledge, possibly of a spiritual or mystical nature that allowed them to live in harmony with the natural world. Yet as the story goes, this advanced society succumbed to moral corruption and greed, leading to its ultimate destruction by a cataclysmic event that submerged the island beneath the waves. But is Atlantis a real place, a lost civilization with profound knowledge, or a symbolic tale meant to impart lessons about hubris and moral decay? Theories about Atlantis abound, ranging from its existence as a literal geographic location to its role as an allegory for human folly. Many argue that the Atlanteans were a spiritually enlightened civilization, one that had mastered sacred wisdom and used it to achieve a balance between technology and nature. Some modern esoteric traditions suggest that Atlantis was a society where individuals had reached a heightened state of consciousness, allowing them to access universal truths and wield energy in ways that are incomprehensible to us today. According to these theories, Atlanteans possessed abilities such as telepathy, advanced healing techniques, and the use of crystals as powerful energy sources. This sacred wisdom, however, was a double-edged sword. As the Atlanteans began to prioritize material wealth and power over spiritual growth, their misuse of this knowledge allegedly triggered their downfall. Central to the narrative of Atlantis is its geographical and architectural magnificence. Plato described the island as a series of concentric rings of land and water, with a grand palace at its center. The city was said to be a marvel of engineering, with advanced irrigation systems, aqueducts, and temples adorned with precious metals. Some scholars and enthusiasts argue that this description reflects an actual lost civilization, possibly located in the Mediterranean, the Atlantic Ocean, or even Antarctica. Geological and archaeological discoveries have occasionally fueled speculation about potential sites for Atlantis. For instance, the Minoan civilization on Crete and Santorini, which was devastated by a volcanic eruption around 1600 BCE, has been proposed as a possible inspiration for Plato's story. Similarly, the Rishat structure, or the Eye of the Sahara, has intrigued researchers due to its striking resemblance to Plato's description of Atlantis. Others interpret Atlantis as a cautionary tale rather than a historical reality. Plato's account was likely influenced by his philosophical and political beliefs. For him, Atlantis symbolized a society that, despite its initial virtues, was corrupted by hubris and greed. The story may have been a critique of contemporary Athens, serving as a warning against the dangers of imperial ambition and the abandonment of ethical principles. In this context, the sacred wisdom of Atlantis represents the moral and spiritual values that are often discarded in the pursuit of power. The catastrophic end of Atlantis serves as a reminder of the consequences of ignoring these values, a theme that resonates across cultures and epochs. The spiritual dimensions of Atlantis have been elaborated upon in modern esotericism and New Age thought. Figures like Helena Blavatsky, founder of the Theosophical Society, and Edgar Cayce, the famed sleeping prophet, have popularized the idea of Atlantis as a spiritually advanced civilization. Blavatsky claimed that Atlantis was the home of a root race of spiritually evolved beings who possessed profound metaphysical knowledge. Cayce, on the other hand, described Atlantis as a technologically sophisticated society whose misuse of powerful energy sources, such as crystals, led to its destruction. Both emphasized the importance of spiritual awakening and warned of the dangers of repeating Atlantis's mistakes in modern times. The idea of sacred knowledge is central to the Atlantis mythos. This knowledge is often depicted as a form of universal truth or divine wisdom that transcends ordinary human understanding. In esoteric traditions, sacred knowledge is not merely intellectual. It is experiential, involving a deep connection to the cosmos and an awareness of the interconnectedness of all life. Atlanteans are said to have used this knowledge to achieve remarkable advancements, such as levitation, telecommunication, and even interdimensional travel. Yet, their eventual downfall illustrates the risks of separating spiritual wisdom from ethical responsibility. When knowledge is used to dominate rather than uplift, it becomes a tool of destruction. The cataclysmic destruction of Atlantis is another element that has sparked intense speculation. Plato attributes the island's demise to earthquakes and floods, which some interpret as symbolic representations of societal collapse. Others argue that this description could reflect an actual geological event, such as a massive tsunami or volcanic eruption. Scientific evidence of sudden and dramatic environmental changes in Earth's history, such as the Younger Dryas period, characterized by rapid climate shifts around 12,000 years ago, has been linked to the Atlantis narrative. Proponents of this theory suggest that such events could have wiped out advanced prehistoric civilizations, leaving only fragmented oral traditions that eventually inspired Plato's account. However, the absence of concrete archaeological evidence for Atlantis has led many mainstream scholars to dismiss it as a purely fictional construct. They argue that Plato's story was a rhetorical device, designed to illustrate his philosophical ideals rather than document historical reality. Yet, the enduring fascination with Atlantis suggests that it speaks to a deeper human longing, a yearning for a golden age when humanity lived in harmony with the earth and each other. This longing is often accompanied by a sense of loss, as if the knowledge and wisdom of that age have been forgotten or suppressed. In this context, the story of Atlantis serves as both a metaphor and a mirror. It reflects our highest aspirations for a just and enlightened society, as well as our deepest fears about the consequences of moral failure and ecological disregard. The Atlanteans' downfall reminds us of the fragile balance between progress and responsibility, a balance that is increasingly relevant in the modern era. As we grapple with issues like climate change, technological ethics, and global inequality, the lessons of Atlantis seem more pertinent than ever. Ultimately, the question of whether Atlantis was a sacred civilization or a mythical tale may be less important than what the story reveals about the human condition. It challenges us to consider the role of knowledge, both sacred and scientific, in shaping our destiny. Are we, like the Atlanteans, on a path towards self-destruction, or can we learn from their mistakes and create a future grounded in wisdom and compassion? The answer lies in our willingness to embrace the ideals that Atlantis represents while avoiding the pitfalls that led to its demise. In the end, Atlantis remains a symbol of both hope and caution. It inspires us to imagine what humanity is capable of achieving when guided by higher principles, while also warning us of the dangers of losing sight of those principles. Whether a real civilization or a mythical construct, Atlantis continues to hold a powerful place in our collective imagination, a reminder of the sacred knowledge we have yet to fully understand and the responsibility that comes with it.